We go along, so all right. Okay.
Thank you so much, friends and comrades, for attending our workshop. Before I start my presentation, there are some pamphlets about labor movement in Iran, and also there's a resolution in support of workers in Iran. Please sign and then take some of those pamphlets. In a few minutes that I have, I would like to talk about the labor movement, including the significance of a strike, teachers' participation in labor movement, especially the recent years' working economic situation, workers' independent organization, jail worker situation, and eventually workers' struggle and achievement. Soon after the Islamic regime of Iran took the power in 1979, it announced that the strikes are forbidden. Those friends who speak Arabic are familiar with the word haram. Haram means forbidden. At the same time, it has a religious connotation, which means those workers who go on a strike commit a sin. In spite of all these restrictions, workers in Iran have been using the strike as a tool during all these years that the Islamic regime has been in power. Only in 2015, we had 2,000 strikes. When we talk about the strike, in fact, we include a combination of work stoppage, rallies, blocking roads, and demonstration in front of parliament or other governments' buildings. These strikes vary from small gathering, let's say 50 workers, up to thousands of workers. Here I just want to provide you a couple of examples. In 2014, there was a combination of demonstration, gathering, and work stoppage in part of free zone that my friend talked about what free zone means, called Baf Mine, where about 6,000 workers and the people of the city participated in this event. What was very unique and at the same time was very interesting or very exciting was the participation and the support of the family members, especially the wives of workers. The strike was so powerful that one of the authorities said that this event has turned to a national problem. Here's another example. In December 2015, the police agents attacked an assembly, young individuals looking for jobs with bullets and tear gas. In front of a gas refinery in a village of Behzad, one of the cities of Iran in the south. As a result, a young married man was killed. That was the man who was killed. 2 people were injured and a number of people were arrested. Based on reports from local, 7,000 people from Behzad and surrounding villages attend his funeral. A banner held during the funeral said, "A father who lost his life for bread." This is a demonstration that you guys can see. Here I would like to draw your attention to participation of teachers in working class, especially their use of technology, including using applications such as Viber and WhatsApp in organizing their demonstration. In recent years, we have seen teacher demonstration in many cities at the same time with almost the same demands. Demands such as freedom of political prisoners, free education and wage increases. In addition, there has been a great atmosphere of solidarity between workers and teachers. On April 29, 2016, this year, Jafar Azimzadeh, one of the leaders of 40,000 signature petition, which was the tactic on an increase in wages, and Ismail Abdi, who is one of the protest leader of teachers, started the hunger strike in jail. In their letter, they have stated that we declare that in protest against below poverty line wages and salaries, prohibition of right to strike, the lack of transparency by the ILO regarding the infringement of our rights by Iranian regime and the absence of legitimate reason for incarcerating protesters we are beginning an open hunger strike on April 29. This action by Jafar and Ismail is a great example of solidarity between workers and teachers, which has been well supported by many workers' organizations as well as worker activists. Since my friend Behzad talked about free zone and the working condition, I'm not going to go to too much detail, but I think it's worth mentioning a few sentences from the letter written by Jafar and Ismail that point out the workers' conditions. These conditions include below poverty line wages and salaries, late payment of their earning, the absence of job security with temporary contract and unconditionally accepting the employer's terms of employment. That was white contract that Behzad mentioned. A significant number of highly educated teachers are forced to accept teaching contracts. At the same time, subsidies on basic goods such as bread, water, gas, dairy products, etc. have been removed. These are just a short list of the injustice that working people and teachers are facing today. What have been said in Jafar and Ismail letter in the working class situation after the signed nuclear agreement between the Iranian government and the West. Several government authorities themselves have proclaimed that people shouldn't have any expectation that the living situation gets better anytime soon, announcing a minimum wage of this year, which according to the government economists is 5 times below poverty line, showed that the Rouhani government is not any different from Ahmadinejad one in terms of following neoliberalism approach. Behzad talked about in detail. Here I want to go back to my opening sentence where I said that the strikes are forbidden or haram in Iran. Strikes are forbidden also means any independent worker organization are forbidden. It means any attempt at improving your life by using legitimate means is considered an action against the national security of the country. The regime has appointed Islamic Worker Council to make decisions on behalf of workers. These agencies are working with management and the intelligence and security forces to identify activists as well as any possibility of workers' collective actions. Here it should be highlighted that the false accusation of an action against the national security of the country have been used almost equally against all labor and teacher activists, such as Behnam Ebrahimzadeh, Rasul Badaghi, Mehdi Bahluli, Mohammad Niknejad, Mahmoud Saleh, and Reza Shahabi. The case of Shahrukh Zamani, the widely known worker who died unexpectedly on September 13, 2015, in Rajai Shah prison, clearly showed that the Islamic regime is the murderer. Shahrukh was in prison since 2011. He was indicted for organizing worker association such as the Syndicate of Painting Workers. He was summoned to court 3 times to comment about the accusation of blaspheming of the supreme leader. Shahrukh suffered occasional losses of consciousness due to pressure and torture. He had to wait for whole year to be sent for an MRI scan. The authority refused him medical care, and that was part of the torture. This was the condition he was subjected to until the news of his death to the brain stroke broke. This is not the first time we witnessed the death of a political prisoner. Afshin Osanlu and Sattar Beheshti are 2 other examples among more who lost their life in the prison of the Islamic regime. Before I summarize my presentation, I would like to briefly talk about the independent working organization. When I said that any independent working organization are forbidden, it doesn't mean that there are no such organizations. There are several working class organizations, although they are not recognized and are not registered by the government. Some of these organizations have their own website and express their opinion about social and working issues. Here I also would like to talk about a chain of networks within labor movement. There are examples when several hundred of workers come from different cities and assemble in front of parliament or the government building.
In 5 minutes.
Or, as I mentioned earlier, in December 2015, around 6,000 minor workers in Asaluya went on a strike at the same time in different phases. When the government announced the minimum wages for this year, a wage that was 5 times below poverty line, 13 worker organizations condemned it. All these examples show that there is kind of teamwork and collaboration among the workers. Having said that, I think one of the challenges before all labor activists is how they can establish an individual, a branch, or labor organization throughout the country and impose them to the government. Thank you for reminding me so I can make it a little bit slow. I have enough time. One of the achievements, I would say that there is a militant and a progressive labor movement in Iran influenced by socialist trend. As I said earlier, strikes have been forbidden during the Islamic regime government. In the past couple of years, several bills have been passed enforcing punishment for those labor activists who provoke other workers to go on a strike. Despite all this, the wave of strike in recent years have been growing and getting stronger. Demands such as free education, the freedom of political prisoners, the equality between men and women, condemning discrimination against Afghan workers who work in Iran are becoming common demands in many independent labor organization statements. Earlier, I talked about the family member, especially worker spouses' participation into events. Although the family members' participation in these two events are unique, I think the family member participation in working class struggle is gradually become a trend. And this is an achievement for workers because this is something new in labor movement. What is significant about this development is that the movement is not limited to the workplace and involve people in the community. The more people in the community get involved with the labor movement, it is harder for the government to suppress it. One of the other achievements, in my opinion, is that the labor movement in Iran is being more and more recognized by the labor movement in abroad. Labor activists such as Mahmoud Salehi, Rasul Badawi, Behnam Ibrahimzadeh are well known by many labor organizations in Europe and North America. At the end, I would like to say thank you to all labor organizations who responded to organizations such as Campaign to Free Jail Workers and International Alliance in support of workers in Iran when we needed your support letter and other support. And please continue your support. Long live international solidarity among workers around the world.